Alright, and welcome to this video. In this video I'm actually going to try and show you which engine type or thruster is good for you. Now predominantly this was mostly from a few comments in some previous videos, and I'd been seeing a few people having some troubles with certain engine types as well. Wee side note for the channel, a wee like, subscribe would always be fantastic, and any more comments for video ideas, also slap them down the bottom and I'll see what I can do. Like for example, this one is one of those as well. So, on to Atmo. Engines and thrusters. There are three engine types or thrusters. I'll keep using the phrase engine type, it's just my thing, right? So, forgive me in that regard. But thrusters, right? So, thrusters. Three types. Go atmospheric thruster, ion thruster, and hydrogen thruster right here. Now, I also have small grid as well, and these are just a few examples that I've set up to show. Now, pros and cons. First of all, the atmospheric thruster is, well, it's in the title, it works in an atmosphere. It will work on Earth, like for example, and it is very powerful. The pros is that it works in an atmosphere, can keep you aloft, can move you about, and only really uses electrical power. So as long as you've got a battery to power it, yeah, you're good to go. Side note, I did travel to Mars to test it, see if it works on Mars. There is not much in atmosphere there at all, so atmospheric thrusters don't really work there, so just bear that one in mind. And the moon and the space, it will not work because no air, no atmospheric thruster. Next one, the ion thruster. Now this is a tricky one. It only uses electrical power, so again, a battery will power it, right? I'll turn these on and we'll get a wee look at them, right? So there we go, and come on, there we go, right? You got a nice blue flame there. This one's got a wee white puff of the air going through it. Now this one, it's a little trickier to explain, right? So it works in space. It works really well in space. It can work on the moon. No atmosphere means it works well. It works well in a vacuum. It works in space. It does draw a lot of power, and it's weak in comparison to option 3, but it does the job. It's a good effort. So if you're not got enough resources but you do have enough platinum and thruster components, you whack on an ion thruster and you can get about in space quite well. And again, a lovely little blue flame there as well, flame effect as well. It's pretty good. But these are the two main ones that only use electricity as a fuel source. They can get you about, but they are situational. Now for the, I guess you call it jack of all trades type, and that would be these ones. The hydrogen thrusters. Now I'll turn this one on, and I'll turn these three on as well. Oof, get a bit of thrust there. I've already went in and turned the overrides on, so they're quite high, but they'll run out of fuel before I can get to them, right? Now, here's the thing, hydrogen thruster works in an atmosphere, works really good in an atmosphere. Your thrust to weight ratio is pretty good. This thing will get you off the ground, it'll get you moving about. Manoeuvrability is all good, it's all there. Stopping and starting speeds, brilliant, and all of them. Now this one's not on because the hydrogen fuel. Now, let's step back for a wee brief second, right? Now like I said, these two only require electricity to run, so you just need a battery, a reactor, even a solar panel, and these will run. Alright, fine. Solar panel doesn't produce that much power to make the ion one run, but you get the idea. As long as you can have more power reserved than the overall usage, you're good to go. These ones don't really require the power at all, but they do need something to get them started, like a spark. Well, imagine it like a spark. But these also require more parts, more additional parts. See, this is a setup, right? So, to get a hydrogen thruster to work, you need, first of all, an O2H2 generator, and you'll need ice, which this thing is already used up. The ice will then be turned into both oxygen and hydrogen. You have to pipe it up with a conveyor pipe, have a tank, because the reserve tank that's in the generators is just not enough, it's just not going to cut it. You'll run out of fuel far too fast and you'll just plummet straight into the ground. If you have it conveyored up, you can use pipes as well to make it look, you know, just aesthetically better, but right now I'm just using conveyors. Pipe it up into a hydrogen tank, and then the hydrogen tank will build up, and that's where your fuel supply will be. And this is the big difference between the hydrogen thrusters and the other two, is that this requires fuel. Fuel is always important, and you'll always see a fuel gauge on your UI to make sure you can see how much fuel you've got left, and that's what's pumped through. But this thruster isn't on, but these ones are. What did I do different? We see here these blue dots here. This determines the state that the hydrogen tank is in. Right now I've set it to stockpile, so any ice I put in the O2 generator has been converted into hydrogen and it's been pulled and stored directly in the tank. It is not allowing any to go to the engine. If I switch that off, so here we go, stockpile off, instantly the engine's on. Now I've put the thruster override on so you can see it, and as you can see, big orange flame, absolutely lovely. And that's how you would get it working. You need to ensure that it's always piped up. Once it's piped up, you're good to go. And that's it. Just make sure that the tank is off its stockpile and that you've got fuel. Right now this has got very little fuel because it's all blackened out. It would be green to determine how much fuel is in it. The higher the better. And these will just keep burning, right? But this is a large grid pipe setup. This is large grid conveyors and a large grid thruster. It also works on the small grid, but also on the small grid as well. The O2 generator, and you'll notice I'm using the smaller conveyor system, the very small conveyor system. It doesn't allow components and things or anything through, but it will allow ore to go through. But it also allows the gas to go through as well. Small hydrogen cell as well. And what I'll do here is this is also a little thing, an unexpected little twist here as well. The engines are running, but the fuel tank is set to stockpile because the amount of fuel being produced by this O2 generator is higher than the intake for the tank, and thus it's been burned off at the edge. So I just changed that to off, and look at that, they got a lot stronger. Now they're using both the fuel coming from the O2 generator and the reserved store in the tank as well, and that's how it looks. And all you need to do is make sure that it's all of it is piped up, so the conveyor ports here coming out of the O2 generator, filling up the hydrogen tank, and then the O2 port, the hydrogen port is coming out here, down, and then conveyor junction up, and in, and that's it. Once it's all piped up, it will work lovely. And a wee bonus hint as well, it's always good to try and maybe create a little, like, when you're experimenting or if you're building, put some blocks along and then up, and then monitor them and see the actual thrust distance for damage. For example, if you want to do internal engines, and that way you'll see how much a gap you'll need as well before blocks become damaged as well, and that can be really helpful. For example, these ones I think it's 5 blocks up, and these ones I think it's 5 small grid blocks as well. But you know, experiment. You know, the art of this game is experimentation. But yeah, that's us. That's essentially the differences, my take on the differences of these engines and how they can look. I mean, I imagine setting up some kind of like, I don't know, like an ice foundry, and you siphon a wee bit off to create a bit of hydrogen, so you've got hydrogen set up as well, and then you put one of these on it and create like a pylon and flame, like an oil rig is burning off its excess gas. You would have that in the distance, and then you would just have a really good looking setup as well. Now these things can all be done, of course I'm using exhaust pipes, but you know, it gives you the idea. And what I'll do is, just before I end the video as well, I'm going to show you a few different bits and pieces of how I've used these engines. Now, this is my big ship, and I've yet to take it to space. Okay, unexpected little outtake there, I guess you'd call it. Obviously the graphics for my super sized hydrogen thrusters on the side haven't loaded, right, but I'll show you here at the back. Right, there's an ion thruster in here, and there is a few on the back as well. However, what you'll see here right on the back is I also have hydrogen thrusters as well in the middle. It's because when I need manoeuvrability or more speed, I'll burn a wee bit of hydrogen fuel, get me that extra boost, but the majority of the time this ship will be using its ion thrusters to get around. But if I move into spectator mode, which is far away, I'll just quickly get myself back inside, I'll show you inside what I've done as well. So inside the nose cone, I've also put hydrogen thrusters and ion thrusters inside the front, and there is a gap in each for each of these, the thruster plume as it comes out, and will not damage any of these blocks. What's happening here is they will still have a lot of thrust. Even though they're inside and they're blocked off from the outside, they will still work. The only time this will not work is if you're using atmospheric thrusters. You need to have a hole or a half block somewhere for the atmosphere to get in and out of the room, and that's how you'll do internal thruster builds. And my voice is a little hoarse today, I don't know why. Now, I temporarily got hydrogen built up here. There's also hydrogen underneath as well. But in the small scale, on a small grid, I built this one recently on a Twitch stream, and as you can see here, I've built this with hydrogen tanks running along the middle with the cargo containers. The hydrogen will flow through a cargo container as well to get to its engines, and everything you see here, I'm using the reinforced conveyor tubes. These also will transfer all the gas that you need, and each one of these thrusters will all work perfectly fine, and they will all move, and even on the corners as well, everywhere that you can see a hydrogen engine here on this build will work. Even the larger conveyor ports for small grid also work. All these things will work, and all the hydrogen will flow through. Of course, I need to refuel the thing, but ultimately that's what's happened here. Always remember, you need fuel, you need to refuel frequently, and ice is key. Once you get the ice, you're good to go, you're golden, and you can move vast amounts of ore, stations, derelict ships, whatever you can think of, you will move it around. Anyway, I think that's me. I think I've covered all the points. If I haven't, please let me know. I'm still new to this. And yeah, thanks a lot for coming along, checking out my video. A wee like, a wee subscribe would be absolutely fantastic, and I do stream from time to time as well. Maybe if you can catch up with that, I'll put my information in the description below. But thanks very much, and before I go, let's take a wee peek at what's going on here. Nice and quickly. Ooh, bit of combat there. Oh, something disappeared as well when I showed up, but my Corvette has dispatched someone as a wee bonus. There we go. Right, thanks very much, and I'll catch you next time. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day.